I was settling in for a quiet Thursday evening, reviewing patient files for the next day, when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw my mother-in-law, Diane, standing there with a folder in her hands and a determined look on her face. "Rebecca, we need to talk," she announced the moment I opened the door, pushing past me into my living room. "Hello to you too, Diane," I said, closing the door. "Is everything okay?" She sat down on my couch uninvited and spread papers across my coffee table. "Everything will be fine once you sign these." I looked down at the documents. They were bank forms, joint account authorization forms, power of attorney documents, financial disclosure statements. My blood ran cold. "What is this?" I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew. "It's time we handled the family finances properly," Diane said, pulling out a pen. "Good wives don't keep secrets from family. You make $8,800 a month as a nurse practitioner. That money should be accessible to the family who needs it. My name is Rebecca, and I'm a 34-year-old nurse practitioner at a cardiac care unit. I'd worked my way through nursing school while waiting tables, gotten my RN license, then went back for my master's degree to become an NP. Those $8,800 monthly paychecks were the result of 12 years of education, training, and brutal shifts. I'd been married to Diane's son, Michael, for 6 years. When we met, he was charming, ambitious, talking about all his big business ideas. I'd fallen for the potential, the dreams, the promises. What I got was a man who couldn't hold a job for more than 6 months and a mother-in-law who enabled his every failure. "Diane," I said carefully, "these forms would give you access to my bank accounts. Why would you need that?" She smiled that fake smile I'd grown to hate. "Oh, honey, it's not about need. It's about trust. Family shares everything. Michael already signed his forms. See?" She pulled out another document. Sure enough, there was Michael's signature, granting his mother full access to his accounts. Not that there was much to access. He'd been unemployed for 4 months, and his accounts were usually overdrawn. "Michael signed this?" I asked, my voice hollow. "Of course. He understands family loyalty. Unlike some people." Her tone turned sharp. "You've been married 6 years, Rebecca. It's time you proved you're really part of this family. By giving you access to my salary? By showing you trust us. What are you hiding? Why are you so secretive about money?" I almost laughed. Secretive? I'd been transparent about our finances from day one. I'd shown Michael our budget, our bills, our savings goals. The problem was that he'd shown all of that to his mother, who then decided she deserved a piece of it. "Where's Michael?" I asked. "He's in the car. He thought it would be better if I talked to you woman to woman." "He's in the car?" I repeated, incredulous. "My husband is sitting in the car while his mother demands access to my bank accounts? Don't be dramatic. He's supporting family unity. Something you clearly don't understand." I stood up, my hands shaking with anger. "Get out." "Excuse me? Get out of my house. Take your forms and your guilt trips and get out." Diane's face flushed red. "How dare you speak to me like that? I'm your mother-in-law." "No," I said quietly. "You're a parasite, and you've raised your son to be one too." She gasped, clutching her chest like I'd physically assaulted her. "Michael will hear about this." "Good. Send him in. Let's have this conversation." She stormed out, and minutes later, Michael slunk in, avoiding eye contact. "Hey babe," he said weakly. "Mom's pretty upset." "Your mother just tried to get me to sign over access to my bank accounts," I said. "And you already signed yours over to her?" He shifted uncomfortably. "It's not a big deal. She just wants to help manage the family finances." "What family finances? You don't have any finances. You have debt. You have my finances that pay for your car, your phone, your gym membership, your video game subscriptions." "That's exactly why Mom should help," he interrupted. "She's good with money. She managed Dad's retirement perfectly. I knew exactly how she'd managed his father's retirement. She'd blown through it in 3 years after he died, then started eyeing her children's spouses as the next source of income." "Michael," I said, trying one last time to reach him, "she's not trying to help. She's trying to control. Can't you see that?" "What I see," he said, finally meeting my eyes, "is a wife who doesn't trust her family. Mom's right. Good wives share everything. Bad wives hide things. I'm not hiding anything. I'm protecting what I've earned. From your own family? That's selfish, Rebecca. Really selfish." I stared at the man I'd married, looking for any sign of the person I'd fallen in love with. But all I saw was Diane's puppet, spouting her words, dancing to her tune. "You know what?" I said. You're right. Good wives do share everything. Which is why I'm going to share some truth with you. Your mother doesn't want to help manage our finances. She wants to drain them. Just like she drained your father's retirement. Just like she drains your brother's income. Just like she's trained you to drain mine. I'm not finished. I've supported you for 4 out of the 6 years we've been married. I've paid your debts, funded your failed business ventures, covered for you with family and friends. And what do I get in return? Your mother at my door with legal documents to steal my income. It's not stealing if it's family. It is if I don't consent. And I don't. I will never sign those papers. Michael's face hardened. Then you're not really my wife. You're just my roommate who happens to pay the bills. That was it. The final nail in the coffin of our marriage. You're right, I said calmly. I'm not really your wife. Because a real husband wouldn't send his mother to rob me. A real husband would protect me, not sell me out for his mother's approval. Where are you going? He called as I headed to the bedroom. To pack. You and your mother can have the house tonight. I'll be at a hotel. My lawyer will be in touch. Lawyer? Babe, come on, don't be ridiculous. Ridiculous? I spun around. Michael, your mother brought legal documents to steal my income, and you think I'm ridiculous for involving a lawyer? I packed quickly while Michael alternated between threats and pleas. His mother must have been coaching him via text because his arguments kept changing tactics. 1 minute, I was a terrible wife who didn't understand family. The next, I was the love of his life who was overreacting. At the hotel that night, I called my friend Patricia, who is a divorce attorney. Let me get this straight, she said. Your mother-in-law brought bank forms to your house, trying to get access to your accounts, and your husband had already signed his over? That's right. Oh, honey, this is financial abuse. Clear cut. We need to move fast before they try to drain any joint accounts. We don't have joint accounts, I said. I learned that lesson after Michael emptied our first joint account for a surefire cryptocurrency investment that turned out to be a scam. Smart woman. This is going to make things much easier. Over the next week, I stayed with my colleague Sandra while Patricia worked her magic. Michael and Diane bombarded me with calls and texts, alternating between anger, guilt trips, and love bombing. You're destroying this family. Diane, baby, please come home. We can work this out. Michael, your selfishness will be your downfall. Diane, I promise Mom won't come over anymore. Michael, no real man will want a woman who doesn't share. Diane, I screenshot everything for my lawyer. Then the real harassment started. Diane began showing up at my work, trying to cause scenes. Security had to escort her out twice. She called my supervisor claiming I was stealing medications. Fortunately, my boss knew me well and recognized this as the desperation it was. Michael, meanwhile, was learning just how much I'd been carrying. Without my income, he couldn't pay the mortgage, the utilities, his car payment, or even his phone bill. He started selling things, his gaming console, his watches, his beloved motorcycle. 3 weeks after I left, I met Michael at a coffee shop to sign divorce papers. He looked terrible, unshaven, wrinkled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. You don't have to do this, he said weakly. We can work it out. Can we? Are you willing to cut your mother off? Tell her she'll never have access to our finances? Stand up to her when she tries to manipulate us. His silence was answer enough. I thought so, I said, signing the papers. You know what the saddest part is, Michael? I loved you. I would have supported you through anything if you'd just been my partner instead of your mother's accomplice. I am your partner. No, you're her partner. I was just the funding source. As I got up to leave, he grabbed my hand. Wait, Rebecca, I just found out something. About Mom. What? She's been taking money from Tommy too. His wife just found out. She's been accessing their accounts for years. And Dad's retirement. It wasn't just bad management. She was sending money to some guy she met online. A scammer. I felt a mix of vindication and pity. And you wanted to give her access to mine. I didn't know, he protested. She's my mom. I trusted her. And I was your wife. You should have trusted me more. A month after I'd walked out, the full extent of Diane's financial manipulation came to light. Tommy's wife, Lisa, had hired a forensic accountant. They discovered Diane had stolen over $200,000 over 5 years through the accounts Tommy had given her access to. She was now facing criminal charges. Her house, which I learned she'd remortgaged 3 times, was in foreclosure. The online boyfriend she'd been sending money to had disappeared once the funds dried up. Michael called me one night, drunk and crying. You were right about everything, he slurred. Mom's going to prison. Tommy won't talk to me. I'm living in my car. I ruined everything. You did, I agreed. But you can start over. Get a job. Get therapy. Learn to stand on your own feet. Will you take me back? No, Michael. That bridge is burned. But I do hope you learn from this. 6 months later, my life was unrecognizable in the best way. The divorce was finalized, clean and quick since we had no children and no shared assets thanks to my caution. I'd moved to a beautiful apartment closer to work. My bank accounts were mine alone, growing steadily without a leech attached. I heard through mutual friends that Michael had finally gotten a steady job at a warehouse. He was living with roommates, going to therapy, and had cut contact with his mother while she served her sentence. Too little, too late for our marriage, but maybe not too late for his life. Tommy and Lisa had reconciled after he'd agreed to intensive therapy about his mother's manipulation. They'd moved across the country for a fresh start. As for Diane, 18 months in minimum security for fraud and theft. All her schemes, all her manipulation, all her talk about good wives sharing everything, had led her to a cell where she had nothing left to share but regrets. I sometimes think about that Thursday evening, when she showed up with her folder full of forms. How different my life would be if I'd signed them. How much of my hard-earned money would have disappeared into her schemes and scams. How long it would have taken me to realize I'd been robbed. Instead, I stood up for myself. I protected what I'd earned. I chose my financial security over a toxic family dynamic. My colleague Sandra, who'd given me shelter during the divorce, summed it up perfectly. She said good wives share everything. But good families don't take everything. Now, when young nurses ask me for advice about relationships and money, I tell them this: your income is yours. Your success is yours. Anyone who truly loves you will respect that, not try to control it. And if someone shows up at your door with bank forms and guilt trips, don't sign. Run. The $8,800 monthly income Diane wanted so badly? It's now funding my retirement accounts, my investment portfolio, and yes, some nice vacations to places Michael always promised we'd go, but could never afford. Because that's what happens when you keep your money away from people who see you as nothing more than an ATM with a pulse. If you're watching this and facing similar pressure, remember, protecting your financial independence isn't selfish. It's necessary. Good partners support each other without enabling. Good families respect boundaries. And good marriages are built on trust, not joint bank accounts with manipulative in-laws. Thank you for watching my story. Your money is your power. Don't sign it away.